So let's take a breath together as we move into this part of our service. As you know, that this is a Thanksgiving season. This is Thanksgiving week. And so we've been talking about Thanksgiving, which is what we talk about in November and focus on in November. So this theme this month of let me count the ways is how many ways can we say thank you? How many ways can we give thanks? How many ways can we show gratitude? And so we've been counting the ways. We've talked about a grateful heart. We've talked about being thankful. And today my topic is deep appreciation. Deep appreciation. Deep appreciation. One of the ways that we show thankfulness and gratitude is through appreciation. And, gratitude is really being thankful for someone, for something that someone did or something that came to you or a gift that we receive or a blessing that we receive. That's what gratitude is about. But appreciation is really about recognizing. It's a recognition of the quality, of the value, of the significance of something or someone. It's a recognition of the quality, of the value, of the significance of something or someone. And that's quite different because it requires action on our part from the inside. It's really recognizing the significance, the value, the quality of someone or something. And we don't always do that. We don't always recognize the quality. We don't always recognize the value. We don't always recognize the significance of an event, of a situation or a circumstance, or of another person. And so that's what appreciation requires us to do. Ordinarily, we focus on things we don't like and take for granted the things that we do. Appreciation requires us to focus on what we do like. And then what we don't like will fade into the background. What we don't like will fade into the background when we are focused on what we do like. And so when we're recognizing the value, when we're recognizing the significance, when we're recognizing the quality of something, and particularly the quality of someone, the value of someone, when we're recognizing these things, then the things we don't like fade into the background. They fade into the background. And so that's what we do when we move into that place of deep appreciation. And appreciation isn't about, head stuff. It isn't about just saying something to say something or saying I appreciate you or whatever, just in a perfunctory sort of way. It is something that has to come from the heart, just like thankfulness. Appreciation is a matter of the heart. It has to come from our hearts. It has to be something that we really mean, that we really feel deeply. And as we do that, then appreciation opens our hearts and we begin to experience life in a totally different kind of way. We begin to experience life in a totally different way when we move into that place of appreciation, move into that place of really knowing that there is value and recognizing that value. And so that's what we're focusing on today, deep appreciation for everything. Deep appreciation for everything. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to reflect on a person or people or situations in your life that may have happened, may be happening now, or may have happened in the past that have really made you who you are today, that have really changed your life in some way. Reflect on those things and those people who have made you who you are today. And then see how you feel about those things. Do you really appreciate those things? Sometimes it may be something that was negative, that we considered to be negative, or maybe someone that had a negative impact. It may be something that was very, very positive, but whatever it was a way that changed our lives. And it could be, as I said, it could be situations, circumstances, events, people, whatever the case may be. But once we really start to reflect on those things and see how they impacted our lives, then we begin to look at and focus on how they impacted our lives. And we begin to look at and see that they really were blessings in our lives. Because oftentimes we don't recognize blessings, as I've said before, until they've passed, until the situation has passed. And then we begin to see, oh, that was really a blessing in my life. Oh, that really changed my life. Oh, that really made a difference. Or that person really made a difference in my life. Life is like a giant jigsaw puzzle. There are all sorts of pieces out there. And it's up to us through our awareness of the power and the presence of God within us, and our awareness of that guidance that is always with us, to start putting those pieces together. We begin to start put those pieces together and seeing how one thing fits with another, and one thing fits with another, and another thing fits with another. And this is how we got to where we are today. And so I'm asking you to reflect on some of the things that have happened in your life. Reflect on people who have come through your life, and people or situations that we may have discounted in the past. May have seemed like a little thing, may have seemed like a really big thing, something that changed your life. But just start to reflect on those things, so that you can really develop an appreciation for those things. You can really develop an appreciation for those things. And what comes to my mind when I think about that is years ago when I lived in Los Angeles, I worked as the supervising attorney for a legal aid office, and it was in another county. So I had to drive. It was about 35 miles from where I lived. So I had to drive every morning. And the really great thing about that for me was that I was going against traffic. So I wasn't in that terrible LA traffic. I was going against traffic. So of course that led me to believe that I had a lot of time to get there in the morning. So because I was going against traffic, so I could just take my time and get there. That didn't happen. But what I would do, it was wait to the last minute, because I had a lot of time, because I was going against traffic. And then I would leave home and I would be flying down the freeway. I would be flying every morning. I would be flying down the freeway. And then I would get to the office and I would be a nervous wreck, because I had driven so fast to get there. And this went on and on and on and on for a long time. And I had gotten to the place where every night before going to bed, I would say, I'm changing this. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to get up early. And I always will get up early, but I'm going to leave home early enough that I don't have to go flying down the freeway. And that didn't happen either. So one morning I was driving on, and I had left home later than usual. And as I was flying down the freeway, I happened to look at the speedometer, and I was driving 85, close to 90, and tearing to get there. And as I was driving along, all of a sudden, I saw this bright light. Something caught my eye. I saw this bright light coming through the side mirror on the outside. And then it was so bright, it was almost blinding. And as I looked through the rearview mirror from the inside of the car, I could see there was a policeman on a motorcycle, a highway patrolman on a motorcycle coming behind me, and this bright light was shining. And so I pulled over, and I was fumbling around trying to get my license out without looking suspicious. And he came around on the passenger side, and I let my window down, and he walked over to the car, stuck his head in the window and said, "Good morning." And I said, "Good morning." And he said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to the office in Pomona." And he said, "I have a message for you." And I said, "What is that?" And he said, "Slow down." And I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "I have a message for you. Slow down." And I said, "Thank you." And he turned and walked away. He didn't ask for my license. He didn't ask my name. He didn't do anything. He just said, "I have a message for you. Slow down." That shook me to my core. That really shook me. I mean, what policeman comes up and says, "I have a message for you"? But that was all he said to me. "I have a message for you. Slow down." And then he went back and got on his motorcycle, and he drove off, and he got off at, I guess he got off at the next exit. I didn't see him anymore. But I finally gathered myself, and I drove onto the office. And that stayed with me the rest of the day, because it had really shaken me a lot, because I knew where that message was from. I knew what that message was all about. And I was so moved by that. I don't speed anywhere. I don't care if I'm late. I don't care what's happening. I don't speed wherever I'm going. That was many years ago. But that was a little situation. It may seem like a little situation that changed my life. And it may have saved my life. It may have saved the lives of others. I'll never know that. But I know that it was a message from Spirit. I know that it was a message to me, which is what he said, I have a message for you, slow down. And that changed my life. And I reflect on that a lot because I have so much appreciation. When I think about appreciation, that's one of the first incidents that comes to my mind. When I think about the significance of that encounter, when I think about the value of that encounter, when I think about the quality of that message, that's what appreciation is. I recognize that, and I so appreciate that. I have such deep appreciation for that encounter and for that blessing in my life. And so I'm asking you to reflect on incidents, reflect on situations, reflect on people who have come into your life, who have changed your life, who have made you the person that you are today. And then really, really, if you don't already appreciate, really develop a deep appreciation, a deep appreciation, a deep appreciation for whatever that blessing was. And as I said, life is like a big jigsaw puzzle. One day we might figure it out, one day we may not. But there's that piece, and we start to fit all these different pieces together. And so I just encourage you to really start to reflect during this Thanksgiving season, during this holiday season, on how your life has been changed, how you have become who you are today because of the blessings that we've received that we didn't even know were blessings at the time, or we may have known that they were blessings at the time. And then the next thing I'd like you to do is to really look at others, view others through the eyes of appreciation. View others through the eyes of appreciation. View others through the eyes of appreciation. The reading says, do we desire to have friends who love us? Do we desire to live in a world peopled by friends who love us? That's the first line of the reading today. And yes, we all do. And Ernest Holmes says, one who has learned to love others will find that there are plenty of people who will love them. One who has learned to love others will find that there are plenty of people who come in to love them. Holmes called gratitude a booster. Last week I was talking about thankfulness being a magnetizer, and I'm thinking that appreciation is a multiplier. Appreciation is a multiplier, because when we start to appreciate, when we start to love others, when we start to love the whole world, as Holmes talks about, then we find that the whole world will start to love us. It's a multiplier. That's what appreciation is. We start to love the whole world. We are appreciating the whole world. We are appreciating everything and everyone. Then that comes back to us multiplied. That comes back to us multiplied. And Holmes also says that we should refuse to find anything negative about anyone. Refuse to see anything negative about anyone. And then refuse to let ourselves misunderstand or be misunderstood. And to know that the whole world wants what's best for us. And to affirm this every day. To affirm this every day, that the whole world wants what's best for us. And when we are affirming this every day, then we get to experience those things that we desire. Because we are knowing, rather than assuming that people don't want the best for us, or that there's one person who doesn't want the best for us, or there's one person who doesn't appreciate us, know that the whole world wants the best for us, and then affirm that. Affirm that the whole world wants the best for us. And when we are affirming that the whole world wants the best for us, then we begin to open up so that the best for us starts to come to us, and we get to experience those things that we desire. And so that's what we start to do when we really move into that place of allowing ourselves to focus on and see others through the eyes of appreciation and focus on appreciation. Then we are also beginning to see the best in other people. We're beginning to see the best in other people. And when we are dealing with other people, and it may be someone that we don't particularly care for, maybe someone that we have issues with, and maybe someone that we don't even know, but we have encounters with. When we start to see them through the eyes of appreciation, then we start to see the best we start to focus on what we like. We start to focus on the good. We start to focus on the positive and let go of the negative, let go of that we don't like. That can be very disarming to an adversary. That can be very disarming to someone that you're in a fight with, in an argument with, in a tug of war with in some way. Just to start to see what you appreciate about the person in front of you. What is it that you appreciate about this situation that you're in? It requires us to focus on what we want. It requires us to focus on the good. It requires us to focus on the positive. And when it's almost, well, not almost, it is impossible for us to be in a place of appreciation and experience negative emotions at the same time. We're not wired that way. We can't be in a place of appreciation and focusing on negativity at the same time. That doesn't work. So if we start out with focusing on appreciation, what do I appreciate about this person? What do I appreciate about this situation right now? What do I appreciate about what's happening right in this moment? What do I appreciate about this? And then the things that I don't like will fade into the background. Will fade into the background. And you know what, another thing that appreciation does, it helps us with compassion. It helps us with compassion, allowing compassion to emerge. Because once we start to look through the eyes of appreciation, then we are looking through softer eyes. We aren't looking through the eyes of judgment. We aren't looking through the eyes of blame. We aren't looking through the eyes of resentment. We aren't looking through the eyes of anger. We're looking through the eyes of appreciation. And all that other stuff just kind of falls away. And so when we're looking through, looking at someone, looking at situations, looking at the world, looking at life, looking at others through the eyes of appreciation, then all the other stuff just falls away. All the other stuff just falls away. And when it does, and our hearts open, this is how we move into a place of oneness. This is how we move into a place of unity. This is how we move into a place of community. This is how we move into a place of healing, being able to heal that sense of separation that we have. And when we recognize what's happening in our world today, there appears to be so much chaos. There appears to be so much divisiveness, so much separation. There appears to be so many things that are going on that's just like a world gone mad sometimes, is how it feels. When we start to really look at it through the eyes of appreciation, what is it that I appreciate about this? What is it that I appreciate about? What is there for me to appreciate in this moment? Looking for opportunities to see the quality, looking for opportunities to see the value, looking for opportunities to see the significance of whatever is going on, of whatever people may be involved in. Sometimes we have to look pretty hard. Sometimes we have to look pretty hard. You don't just see it right off the bat. You don't just see it right off the bat, because there are things that we see that we don't like. There are things that we see that are painful. There are things that we see that appear unfair. There are things that we see that are unjust. How can I see appreciation in this? How can I look through the eyes of appreciation? And will looking through the eyes of appreciation help me to see this differently? Help me to feel differently about this? And as I said, appreciation helps us to move into a place of forgiveness. It helps us to move into a place of compassion, because our hearts open. Our hearts open. If you can just find a sliver, just a little thing, just a glimmer of something to appreciate in any situation that you're looking at, and with any person that you're looking at, no matter how they may be acting out, no matter how much you may be disagreeing with them, if there's something you can find to appreciate there, if there's something you can find, there's an opening there. There's a slight opening. When we can find something to appreciate, there's a slight opening. And when that slight opening means that our hearts open. And when our hearts open, everything changes. Because when our hearts open, we move out of that place of separation, and we begin to move into that place of oneness, into that place of recognition that there's only one life. There's only one life. There's only one life. There's only one life. And that life is expressing in and through and as each one of us. And it expresses according to our own uniqueness. It expresses according to our own individuality. And so what we're looking at is an individual. What we're looking at is an individual who obviously is different than we are, because none of us is the same. So what we want to do is to know that when we can allow that opening that we get when we are looking through the eyes of appreciation, when we can allow that, then we are beginning to heal that sense of separation that we feel from God, and that sense of separation that the world feels from God, because everything starts with each one of us. Everything starts with each one of us. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be love on earth. Let it begin with me. Let there be truth on earth in this time of misinformation and disinformation, and let it begin with me. And so thirdly, what we want to do in looking at others through the eyes of appreciation, viewing ourselves through the eyes of appreciation, appreciating ourselves for the way we show up in the world, for our willingness to do the work. And as we go through times, forgiving ourselves when we aren't operating at our highest and our best, but appreciating ourselves for that, even for recognizing when we are not, and for being willing to see in others that God presence, to see in others that oneness, to see in others God everywhere, knowing that God is seeking expression through each one. But seeing that in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the misinformation, in the middle of the divisiveness, there is oneness. There's oneness. And being aware, your awareness of that. Appreciate yourself for being aware that God is all there is. But for the awareness that God is all there is. For the awareness that truth is seeking to reveal itself when there's misinformation and disinformation and a lot of things like that going on. Being aware that peace is seeking to reveal itself when there's apparent chaos, when there's apparent unrest. And when you can recognize that, then the thing that you want to do is allow those qualities to begin to express in and through and as you. Let peace begin to express as you. Let truth begin to express as you. Let love begin to express as you. Let oneness begin to express as you. Let God begin to express as you. And that's when we begin to really appreciate ourselves, because we have the awareness and the willingness to allow ourselves to be that place and space through which God can express itself fully and completely, to be that place and space through which appreciation just shows up. And when appreciation shows up through that opening, God shows up. And when God shows up, look out. Look out. Because healing happens. That's how healing happens. And it starts with each one of us. And so I'm inviting you today to really look at the world, your life, through the eyes of appreciation, to really begin to go into that place of deep appreciation. And when it comes to others, one thing that I want to say about appreciation is expressing it is so important. Expressing it to others. Who can you express appreciation to today? Who can you express appreciation to today? To whom can you say, I really appreciate you. I appreciate the way you do whatever it is you do. I appreciate the things you do I appreciate your support. I appreciate your love. I appreciate whatever it is you appreciate about others. Begin to express those things. Begin to let people know. You may send a note, you may send a text message, you may send an email, or you may tell them in person or a phone call, however you express it. It's so important that appreciation be expressed because it has such a tremendous impact on others. And if you doubt that, think about the tremendous impact that appreciation has on you. When someone lets you know how much they appreciate you, how does that make you feel? When someone lets you know that they appreciate the good work you do, or the good friend that you are, or the good support that you've been, or whatever it is you may have done, when you get that acclamation of appreciation, doesn't it make a difference for you? Doesn't it make a difference for you? The way you live your life, the way you go through your day, the way you feel about yourself, it's uplifting. And so when we can uplift others by by expressing our appreciation to them, letting them know how we feel about them, letting them know how much we are grateful and how much we do value whatever it is they did or did not do. How much we do see the significance of what they did, understand the significance of it, understand the quality of it, which is what appreciation is all about. And so as we go through this time of, as I said, of Thanksgiving, let our hearts be filled with deep appreciation, and then begin to express that appreciation to others and see how your life changes. See how your life changes. See how we open up and begin to attract more and more and more of the same, because appreciation, as I said, is a multiplier. It's a multiplier. And see how our blessings are multiplied. See how our gifts are multiplied as we begin to appreciate all the channels that God uses to bring our blessings to us, to bring good to us, to bring good in our lives. And all those things that I mentioned, situations, circumstances, people, things like that, those are all channels that God uses. Those are all channels that God uses to express itself in and through and as our lives, as a blessing. And so I invite you to really, really, really begin to practice appreciation, practice deep appreciation. Find innovative ways to say, I appreciate you, or to practice appreciation, or to see, or to look through the eyes of appreciation. This is our charge for this season. This is our charge as we go to the end of this year and moving forward. Practice appreciation and practice deep appreciation, and see how we move more and more into oneness, the oneness that is God, the oneness that is the presence of God, the oneness that is the all that is. And we move forward at one with the one, easily and effortlessly, and in deep, deep, deep appreciation. Let's take a breath and turn within in this moment. Just turning within in this moment, knowing absolutely that God is all there is. God is all there is. The only life, the only power, the only presence, the only love, the only breath, the only activity is God. The only is God. How good it is to know this truth, how good it is to affirm this truth each and every moment of each and every day, that God is all there is. And knowing that this all that is God is my very life, that there is no separation, can be no separation between the all that is and me. There can be no separation. For I know that onlyness that is God is my life, and this life of each of us. It is the source of each of us, of all of us. And so just knowing this truth, that I can never be separate from that, I can speak the word for each of us from this place of awareness, from this place of knowing that God is all there is. I speak a word for each one of us. Just speaking a word of appreciation for each one of us. Just appreciating our awareness of the power and the presence of God. Appreciating our awareness of the power and the presence of this teaching that we have, that lets us know that we are one with God, that there's nothing that can separate us from God, and that God is working in and through and as each one of us according to our own uniqueness and according to our own availability to it. And so I'm speaking a word of availability for us right here, right now also, just being open and available as we release and let go of those things that don't serve. We release and let go of those things that we don't like. We release and let go of those things that are not of the highest and best. We release and let go of anything that would block that pure, unadulterated love and light and peace and harmony of pure spirit. And as we release and let go, we create a space for it to operate in and through and as each one of us. And so we walk forward in peace. We walk forward in love. We walk forward in appreciation. We walk forward in gratitude. We walk forward in God always. And as we do so, we are guided and directed every step of the way. Wherever we go, whatever we do, there's guidance, there's direction, there's safety, there's protection, whatever it is we need. Whatever it is we need, whatever we may call it, God shows up as that thing we need. All needs are met. All needs are met in each and every moment of each and every day. And we just open our hearts and open our minds to receive, to receive, to receive the blessings that are ours, that are ours and that have already been given to us. This is how healing happens. And this healing is already happening for each and every one of us. I'm speaking the word for those who may need healing in the body temple, healing in the bodies of affairs, healing in any aspect of their lives, healing of broken hearts, healing of the loss, the broken hearts from the loss of loved ones or the loss of any kind. I know that God is in the midst of everything. The great comforter, God, is in the midst of everything. The great healer, God, is in the midst of everything. How grateful I am. How grateful I am to know this truth. What deep appreciation I have for this truth, that I know that healing is happening for each and every one of us. This word goes out to anyone needing a prayer this day. And if there's anyone you'd like held in prayer, you may speak their name silently, or you may speak them aloud, but you may speak it now. And so for all those whose names were spoken here this day, I know that God is right where each person is, right in the midst of everything that's going on, right in the midst of every situation and circumstance. God is. This word goes out to our government officials, just knowing that there's right action taking place, that the decisions are being made for the highest and best of all concerned. And there's a releasing and letting go of divisiveness, and there's a coming together. There's a unity that's happening, but there's oneness in the midst of everything. God is in the midst of everything. And so I just give great, great thanks. I give great, great thanks for the word spoken here this day. I give great, great thanks for everything, for everything, for everything. And for anyone on this planet needing a prayer this day, I know that God is in the midst of everything that's going on. And so I simply say, thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, Infinite Presence. Thank you, Divine Mother. I know that all is well, for I know without a doubt that all is God. And I simply allow it to be. And so it is.